Hey guys, this is Rob from Blue Collar Catholic. This video is for the many undecided voters that are still out there. Yes, I believe there's undecided voters across the country, even in places like San Pedro, California, which actually interesting note about San Pedro, it's named after St. Peter of Alexandria. He lived during the time of Diocletian. He survived the Diocletian persecution. But I digress. This video isn't for my normal subscribers. I think most of you guys are voting the way I am. But I know there's some sincere, good people out there. They want to leave and lead America greater than before. And they're concerned. I mean, I know there's blue collar workers, there's retired nurses sitting at home in San Pedro, California right now, trying to make up their mind. Who should they vote for? This video is for you. Remember, Donald Trump is the familiar candidate. We're familiar with what he did. He has a record. It's not like he's a new candidate. We know what he did. We're familiar with 1.5% inflation. We're familiar that wages were higher than ever. We're familiar that in decades, he was the first president that did not lead us into new wars. And yes, a lot of people think that he's got a crazy personality, but we're familiar with that. They're saying he's going to jail people, but we're familiar with that. He didn't. Hillary Clinton was dead to rights. Even Comey, the FBI commissioner or leader, whatever his title was, who hates Donald Trump, said Hillary Clinton was guilty. She was guilty. I mean, she was subpoenaed 30,000 emails, and she bleach spit them, threw them away. And Comey said many of them were top secret. Donald Trump could have went after her and put her in jail, and he didn't. He didn't. So they are projecting what they're doing. They charged Donald Trump with 94 felonies for an error. Instead of putting in his bookkeeper putting that it was an election expense, they put it as a business expense. And because they did it every month for 94 months, they charged with 94 felonies. And they could put him away for life for that. That happens all the time in New York City. And no one has ever been charged with that. So the threat to democracy are these Democrats that are trying to jail their political opponent. This has never happened in America before. But we're going to get to policies because we're not voting on personality. Personality isn't going to change your life, your children's life, or your grandchildren's life. But policies are. Now, you might think Trump's ego is too big. He's too prideful. Whatever it is, whatever drove him to make America great worked. Whether it's his pride or ego, whether it's his love for his children or grandchildren, whether his love for the country. Maybe it's all three, maybe it's one of them, but he does want to prove to the world that he's the best president. And you can just look at the pros and the cons. When he was president, we had 1.5% inflation. That's the best it's ever been in my lifetime, and I'm 59 years old. For the first time, blue collar wages went up, and not just a little bit, it was like 12%. That was significant. And he gave us blue collar guys a tax break, so I was taking home more in my paycheck, but he also gave a big tax break to all the corporations that took jobs to China and Mexico with these bad trade deals. He got us out of the trade deals, number one, thank God. These corrupt politicians got us into. So he brought jobs back because of his lower corporate tax. But all the companies were giving us raises. I got the biggest raise of my life. And my boss, who hated Trump, said, yeah, because of Trump's tax cuts, they're giving everybody $2 an hour raise. Boom, just like that. Plus bonuses. Remember, all these companies were giving bonuses because of this tax cut. So not only were they taking less out of taxes, I was getting paid more. And, when, $2 an hour doesn't seem a lot on 40 hours, but I was a milkman making 70 hours, working 70 hours a week. And I thought that was a lot. But I'll tell you what, there's blue collar workers out there that work more than me. And the one that I've met were nurses. Nurses are working more than anybody and in the most stressful environment. So they deserve a raise. And, this time Trump wants to build upon what he did. And he's saying he's not even going to tax overtime. So imagine these nurses working 80 hours a week. More than half of their pay is overtime. Just like when I was a milk, more than half of my pay was overtime. And that's not being taxed. And the media will tell you, oh, no, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. Yes, we can. Every time. This is a fact over feelings. This is a fact. When JFK lowered taxes, he brought more revenue into the government. When Ronald Reagan lowered taxes, he brought more revenue into the government. When George W. Bush lowered taxes, he brought more revenue into government. When Donald Trump, record-setting, lowered taxes, he brought record-setting revenue into the government. And even Obama admitted, yes, when you cut taxes on corporations, the government gets more revenue. But he said it's not fair. Not fair to who? Not fair to China. Not fair to, because the Democrats don't want us to be stronger. They want us, they care more about other countries than us. And you see it. You see it. So what are other pros? These endless wars. It's blue collar guys. And me being a Navy veteran, I can tell you the people that hate war the most are the people that have to fight it, the military. And these corrupt politicians, and they're on both sides. Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney made millions on Halliburton rebuilding Iraq. And they would blow something up and they would rebuild it again. And our taxpayer paid them, made them filthy rich. Joe Biden's brother, Jim Biden, made millions in a construction company. He has no experience in construction, but he started a construction company to help rebuild Iraq. Made millions. So there's corrupt politicians on both sides. No wonder Liz and Dick Cheney are now supporting the Democrats, because they know that Trump brought peace. He was the first president in decades that did not get us into a new war. And every analyst on both sides said, yeah, Russia would have never invaded Ukraine. And Iran didn't have the money to support Hamas and Hezbollah to attack Israel. So he'll do it again. He'll do it again. And the way he'll do it is by not giving Iran money. Number one, he stopped giving them money. Biden started giving them money again. And he's going to enforce the sanctions that Biden didn't enforce. So Iran is going to be broke. And then with Russia, he's going to unleash oil. We were under Donald Trump. We were energy independent. We were independent on these countries that hate us for the first time in my lifetime for oil. And now he's going to take it to the next level and make us oil dominant, where people were begging us for oil. We have the oil and we have the technology and we have the cleanest way of getting it out in the world by far. And when we bring oil from $80 a barrel back down to $30, where it was under Trump, Russia is going to have the money for this war. So they're going to be begging for a ceasefire. And never in my life, and even Donald Trump said, never in his life has he heard people talk about nuclear war. He said, we didn't even mention nuclear war when I was president. And just think about this. You hear the media talking about, well, if it's I remember on NBC, they're talking about like a weaker nuclear missile that Russia might use and then we could use. And they're talking about this serious. They're talking about nuclear war. I'm like, are these people out of their mind? And Donald Trump sees this. So he wants to get us out of war quickly, and he wants to protect us just in case. So he created the Space Force for this, but he's going to take it to another level. And when he's got a brilliant mind like Elon Musk on our side, who knows about satellites, and the brilliant minds at NASA working together, we're going to have a shield. We're going to have a shield to protect us from nuclear missiles coming in. I mean, it sounds crazy, but we need it. We gave a shield to Israel, the Iron Dome that protects regular conventional missiles. We have the brains. We're the smartest, greatest country that's ever lived, that's ever been made. So we have the technology. So he's gonna protect us from war. And our children are suffering. I know so many parents that can't afford to buy groceries. We're going to get that inflation down. He did it before. He's the familiar candidate. We're familiar with 1.5% inflation. It's not something new. Under Biden, it's over 20%. Over 20%. The average household is spending the average person is spending $2,000 more a month under Biden. This is why so many people are suffering. This is why credit card debt is record high. This is really tough. But not only that, our kids don't even have a chance because their education is horrible. We rank 40th in the world with education. And we spend by far the most. And the Democrat machine is keeping these kids locked in these failing schools. And Donald Trump is saying, no, we're going to give choice. If some kid is in a poor ghetto school, we're going to give the parent the same amount of money we'd give that school and say, you can put your kid in any school of your choice, whether it be a good Catholic school or a rich lily white school up in a suburban neighborhood, or if it's a Protestant school or any kind of school you want. It's your choice because you know what's best for your kid. You love your kid more than the government. The Democrats will have none of that. They want to keep these kids locked in failing schools. So if you're undecided, just think about how it was 4 years ago. Forget about his personality. Think about the policies. And now he's coming back with a vengeance in a good way to make America even greater, to prove that he's the greatest president. He's got one more shot. And he's even bringing RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a lifelong Democrat, is enthusiastically campaigning for Trump because he knows. He sat down and he talked to Trump. And RFK Jr.'s greatest concern is about our children, the health of our children. Our children are so unhealthy because the corrupt politicians let these corrupt food companies and drug companies just feed our kids poison. And Donald Trump said he's going to let Robert F. Kennedy make America healthy again. He's going to investigate the food companies. He's going to investigate the drug companies. And we're going to have healthier children. Our children deserve a better America. We have a chance to lead America to greatness. We have a chance to leave America better for our children. Please think about your choice and vote Trump 2024.